To the people who record themselves crying and then post it to a social media. Why? Well, I only did it once because I used to have a YouTube channel where I would post videos of my first cockage eel, but one day she passed away and I was just telling the people who would watch my videos why I would not be posting, and then I broke down and started crying. I'm just waiting for someone to answer that the question was actually towards. I personally don't do it, but a former friend explained to me why. Yes, it is an attention thing, but at least for her, it wasn't in a douchy kind of way. She didn't have the nicest upbringing and was shamed for trying to seek help from her family when it came to emotional hardships. It was a real toughen up kind of household, which made her wary about seeking out help. Instead, she let the help seek her out by drawing attention to her bad emotional state without actually having to tell somebody, hey, I feel horrible, I need someone to talk to and be there for me. It's actually really sad, and I hate to admit that this is part of the reason she is a former friend. While I felt for her, this behavior took the control away from me. I couldn't tell her that I feel bad myself, and she's crossing a boundary by dumping her emotions on me, since she didn't specifically target me. Sometimes I feel bad for that, but in the end I gotta take care of myself. To edit spelling. I guess since everybody else is just going to reply with anecdotes and talk about how much better they are than that, I'll bite. I did that once. Why? Like a lot of people suggested. Attention. I was 14. I was alone. I was hurting. I wanted someone to tell me I would be okay. And I wasn't getting that eye roll. So I went online and recorded myself crying and trying to talk about what was upsetting me. I got a lot of assholes responding, because people seemed so excited to tear down a sad little girl. But I did get kind responses too. And when I felt better, I thanked the people who were kind and deleted the video. Sometimes people just need a few nice words, and I don't think they're bad for that. My cousin did this. He was going through depression and had underlying mental issues he never properly addressed as a child. It wasn't for attention. It was his way of screaming for help. Eater, this was truly years ago. And I'm good and quite stable now. Our baby, now 6, ended up having a tongue tie that we got revised, and it made a huge difference. Someone reported this for fear of self-harm, I guess. So I wanted to clarify. Years ago I posted a raw photo of myself crying to Instagram. I was 2 months postpartum, having a horrible time breastfeeding, and wanted to show other mothers that they were not alone in the raw struggle of motherhood. That every moment is not scripted, and that it's okay to be real on social media, even when the world seems to value a fake facade. Even if people are looking for attention doesn't mean they aren't doing it for a reason. My parents beat and neglected me. I was their adopted slave to work their farm and collect the check the state. I was screaming for attention in all sorts of abnormal ways, crying to social media always felt like a last-ditched effort to find someone who actually cares about me for once. Never worked, and I learned from it. Some people are growing, and I apologize for my ignorance. I've done this in the past. It was because I was really sad and alone and wanted someone to comfort me. I didn't have anyone I could personally reach out to. People are like, why would record yourself crying and post it? That's so attention seeking. But then when someone commits suicide, it's why didn't they tell anyone they were struggling? When you're feeling down and out, full of worry, full of doubt, when you're filled with deep despairs, when you're sad and no one cares, when you're bleak and broken, blue, I shall tell you what to do. Listen closely. Don't forget. Put it on the internet. Most people don't make a big spectacle of themselves crying in public, unless they're looking for attention. And all of social media is looking for attention. So that goes 1000 times more there. Obviously there are going to be times when something horrible happens in public which makes you cry on the spot. And of course that's fine. But if you go out of your way to make a scene, out of proportion to the drama, it's a ploy for attention. Dunno. I was crying over a movie, so I put a picture on my Instagram story and said that the movie I was crying over was so fucking sad but worth a watch. I cry over a lot of things. Leave Britney alone. People want to be seen and understood. I saw a TikTok of a woman crying because the babysitter had given her baby Benadryl and the child died, but all I could think about was why would you set up a camera during that phone call? I don't understand it either. Since nobody seems to be actually answering the question, I guess I will. I'm mentally ill and wanted someone to ask me if I was okay / what was going on. People always say that if you're struggling you should talk to somebody, but it's very hard to actually start that conversation. Yes, I wanted attention. I wanted support. I wanted someone to reach out and show me that they cared. A lot of you seem to think that makes me a horrible person. But maybe try and look at things from a different perspective. Yes, I've done shit before to seek attention. But that doesn't make me not ill. Nor a bad person. If somebody is so desperate for attention, then perhaps they actually need it. Disclaimer, I know that this isn't healthy behavior and I don't do it anymore, but as a younger teenager I did, so I thought I would offer the perspective that Op actually asked for, rather than just saying, because they are attention-seeking idiots with no life. I wanted people to ask me if I was okay. And I wanted people to know I was hurting. I'm related to someone who does this. Basically they want sympathy and don't have people close by who can give it to them. There are plenty of people online who will tell you it's going to be okay. Most of the comments here are taking the negative view that people who do this are looking for attention or even need / crave attention. And that some of those people are trying to spin it into profit. While that may be true for many, or even most people, I think something is being missed here. Documentation. The proliferation of phones and recording devices has made it easier to document everything. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to do that, even if it's traumatic, grief, etc. Not only is there nothing inherently wrong or self-promoting about documenting, there are many positives to it, including helping those facing similar trials and taboo circumstances. One that comes to mind is miscarriages. It's something that typically hasn't been talked about openly. Parents often have to keep that in and face mental health and emotional issues alone. It can also be educational to document authentic emotional experiences. I'd be willing to bet there are other positive reasons for doing it. If I filmed and produced a documentary on grief and filmed myself and others experiencing it, I don't think this sub would be full of the comments this thread has. Even if I profited from it, I know it's good for my head to make a practice out of considering positive and outlying issues instead of knee-jerk reacting to something and jumping to conclusions about people's character. Because they are sad and want support. It's disturbing how many people in this thread think saying somebody is desperate for attention is an indictment of their character, rather than something warranting sympathy.